Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and welcome to this educational presentation where today I want to talk to you about powerful pullback trading. Now, pullback is a style for trading the markets, any market, any direction, any time frame. It's very popular and very powerful, as you see here, but a lot of people aren't aware of what pullback trading is. So let me start out by sharing with you this pullback definition. Firstly, in an overall uptrend, a pullback is either a large, a moderate, or a shallow sell-off. So that's all it is. We want to look for the overall trend, and then we want to look for those counter small, large, or moderate sell-offs. For example, we can look at this chart here in AMAT. This is an older chart. As we see here, the overall trend is up. So a pullback trader looks to buy at these sell-offs, at these lower levels before the stock goes back up. Now, conversely, in an overall downtrend, a pullback is either a large, moderate, or shallow rally. So if the market is trending lower, we want to sell on these pullbacks, these large, moderate, or shallow bounces. As you look at this older chart in OKTA, we see that the overall trend is down. So a pullback trader looks to sell here, 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 and here on these little bounces. Now, this is easier said than done. In hindsight, it's very easy to see where these bounces were and where the resumed trend happened in the overall trend. But the only difficulty is when it goes up in this instance, who knows whether it's going to continue downward or whether it's going to continue going higher and establish a new uptrend and vice versa. So this is why a lot of traders have difficulty trading pullbacks. And it leads us to ask the question, is there a strategy specifically designed to identify these high probability pullback setups? Well, yes, there is. In fact, this strategy is only located on our platform, the PTS Primo Charting Platform that I developed and designed with Pro Trader Strategies that actually identifies these high probability pullback setups. And you'll see that in today's educational class. So welcome once again. My name is Steven Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading. If you're new to my webinars, we are first and foremost an educational company. If you come here today thinking I'm going to tell you what I think the market's going to do, is it going to top out? Is it going to head higher? Is it going sideways? Or if you think I'm going to tell you what stock to buy or what stock to sell, you've actually come to the wrong place because that's not what we do here at all. We are first and foremost an educational company, meaning that our sole purpose is simply to educate you so that you can put the power in your hands and make your own trading decisions. Now, I've been trading now for 47 years. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the floor for 16 years, and 9 of those years I was a specialist. I made markets in about 50 or 60 stocks during the crash of '87 and the bull market that followed. So in my nearly 5 decades of trading, I know what works in terms of consistency, and I know what doesn't. So what we do at Specialist Trading is simply teach you those things that have high levels of consistency and then work with you so that you can make your own trading decisions. And you'll see that in today's educational presentation. Now, before we begin, we are required to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results. In fact, I believe I have upwards of 20 or so different slides to share with you that show you how this particular pullback method works. But please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, I see a lot of new names here in today's class. If you haven't done so already, please feel free to follow us on Twitter or X, however you'd like to title it. I post upwards of 5 to 7 different snapshots a day of our signals or our methods that have generated signals. Lots of free education on a daily basis, as well as bits of financial wisdom. So please feel free to follow us on Twitter. Now, remember, we're a little bit different from other webinars in that we're not here to tell you how to trade. We're simply here to tell you how, or simply here to teach you, I should say, how to trade. So my goal as an educator is not to force feed you signals. My goal as an educator is to teach you how to trade with the specialist edge. Now, when I first started trading on the floor some 47 years ago, I know a lot of people will think, well, Steve, yeah, it's easy for you to be successful because you were on the trading floor and you had all this inside information. Well, believe it or not, I've often made no secret about this. My first 1 or 2 years on the floor, I struggled tremendously, just like probably many of you are doing. And I was doing the same things you were being taught. Okay. I was watching all the news, the economic indicators, looking for earnings reports, looking at support and resistance, things, all of that nature, Fibonacci resistance points, support points, and I couldn't make a dime. It wasn't until my mentors saw how much I was struggling, and they taught me what is called the specialist edge. These are things that have high levels of consistency. And so when I left the floor and started to decide to teach, these are the same things I teach my students around the world in over 115 countries and in every state in the United States. So I'm happy to say that a lot of students that were just basically treading water like me are now consistent traders because they're employing these same things that have sustained me. So hopefully they'll be able to sustain you now for a good 4 or 5 decades as well. Okay, a few announcements before we begin today's educational class. Firstly, please, if you have any questions, wait till the end. I have a lot of slides to share with you. We're going to show you some recent current slides. So please, if you have any questions, wait till the end of the presentation. I promise I'll get to each and every one of them at that point. Also, we are streaming live on YouTube, so you can also ask questions as well. Secondly, many people ask, is this being recorded? Yes, I'll answer that question right off the bat. We are recording this, so each and every one of you will be sent a link to this at the end of today's presentation. You can watch it at your own leisure, okay? Okay, with that stated, let's begin today's educational class. And we're talking about pullbacks once again. I want to share with you the 3 stages that are involved within a pullback entry. Now, we're going to look at a pullback buy entry, but it's similar. It's the same thing. If we're selling, we're just going to flip it upside down. But if you're looking to buy, here are the 3 stages of a pullback. It's stage 1, where you have the beginning of a trend. Obviously, it's an uptrend, okay? And everyone knows how to spot this. It doesn't matter if it's in hindsight. You can easily see that it's been going up. But here's the difficult part. This is when price starts to falter and starts to go the opposite direction. Now, many traders will go to that chat room or listen to that guy on TV, and he'll tell you that, well, the market just topped out, whatever you're trading, the stock, the future, the currency pair, and now it's time to either exit your long position or go short, because mostly we're going to be heading lower and it looks like we may make new lows. This is where traders fail because they spot, that they tend to spot that this is the end of the uptrend, but actually it could be just a pullback. Now, according to the requirements that you have in a strategy or a method, if these requirements are all met, well, then you know that this is simply a pullback and you want to buy instead of sell at these levels. You see, this is a buying opportunity as opposed to a selling opportunity. Why is it a buying opportunity? Well, because if it's a valid pullback, price will now stop and go into stage 3, which is the resumption of trend. So pullback traders like to buy at these lower levels when everyone is selling, when everyone is out of the pool, and you are buying. You are one of the few buyers there. It makes it really nice because you can buy at these lower prices. So once again, we ask, well, that sounds great looking at this generic chart, but is there a strategy specifically designed to identify with high probability these pullback entries? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Yes, there is. Strategy number 9. This is one of our premier pullback strategies at Specialist Trading. Let me share with you some of the highlights of this particular method. It's obviously a buy low, sell high pullback strategy. It's based on a proprietary indicator method. Okay, so in other words, we are basing all the signals off of a proprietary indicator that we keep in-house. Now, you can apply this to any market, any time frame, or any direction. Even though the majority of examples I'll share with you today are in stocks, it makes no difference if you apply this to crypto, intraday E-mini futures trading, ETFs, currency pairs. Makes absolutely no difference because strategy number 9, based on this proprietary indicator, does not know what it's looking at. It doesn't say, well, this is the British pound, so I can't generate a signal here because I only know how to look at this in Apple or in Google. No, it doesn't care. It doesn't even know what the market is. It's just basing it off all of the requirements. Now, because of this unique way of buying low and selling high, it makes it ideal for option trading. I mean, think of it. Have you ever bought an option and you see you've paid a really high premium, and even though the stock or the market goes in your direction, you lose money or don't make a lot of money because the premium is deteriorating because you spent so much money on that? Well, think of it. If you can buy at a lower price, you'll buy with all these lower premiums. You won't have to spend a lot because if it's a true pullback, it'll go back in that upwards direction. So this makes it ideal for option traders. Now, even though this isn't an option class, remember our course of education is simply to provide you with this information. How you decide to trade with it is entirely up to you. You can buy options, some type of a spread strategy. You can actually buy the stock or the market. It makes no difference, but it's up to you to decide, okay? Now, with all of our methods, regardless of what method it is, strategy number 9 included, please, we tell our traders to paper trade first. This is a requirement. Why? Well, because you will have losses from time to time. That's okay. In other words, that's what we mean by consistency. Specialist edge is rooted in consistency, meaning that there will be losses from time to time, but a consistent method is one that's able to recoup those losses, often on the very next setup. And you'll see that in today's educational class. I'll show you a couple of losing trades that lost and how you were able to recoup on the very next pullback setup. Okay, so some more information about strategy number 9. It employs 2 simple indicators, and their relationship to the price automatically produces the signals. Now, obviously, in an overall uptrend, the buy signals will be generated during a decline. And in an overall downtrend, sell signals will be generated during a rally. So that's the process we're looking for, okay? Let me share with you what this looks like on some older charts, this exact process. In fact, let's look at that same chart we looked at earlier, AMAT, all right? We are in an overall uptrend. We're going higher, very slowly, but going higher. Remember, pullback traders like to buy at these lower levels. So how can we have some signals automatically generated at these lower levels if they meet all the requirements? Well, on our platform, it's as simple as going to the green strategy tab, finding strategy number 9, and clicking that on, and you'll see a drop-down menu. Simply click on signal arrows, and we'll tell you where these signals are, if there are any generated. And as we see, look at all the buy signals that were generated at or near the lows. Now, this can work as well in an overall downtrend. Okay, in an overall downtrend, the traders like to sell at these higher prices right here. But once again, how do we know? It's easy to see in hindsight. How do we know in real time as it was happening? Well, on our platform, you have to have our platform to do this. Click on strategy 9. In the drop-down menu, simply click on signal arrow. And look at all these sell signals that were generated right at or near the highs of these little short-term bounces. So this is how simple it is to apply this process, and you can only do it on our platform. Now, this is not a black box system. We teach you all the rules of what to look for and how to actually trade, all the entry points, exit points, stop placement. We teach you all of that in the course. So I can't give away that information now, but I can walk you through with some actual charts on our platform. So let's look at some current strategy number 9 examples. And remember, we're going to go and use this on the platform and show you how simple it is to apply the platform to actually identify these high probability pullback setups. Once again, before we begin, as always, I'm going to show you a lot of performance results right now looking at these current charts, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Okay, so I'm toggling over to some live charts now. Let's look at Google. Here's an older chart of Google. Well, not that old, actually, just going back to this last month of June into mid-May. Now, as we look at this, well, what do we find here? Okay, we're looking to see that we have that 3-step process. So what do we have here? Well, the first process is right here. We have this upward slope, okay? That's telling us, let me just skip this and let me just make sure that this is a little bit more defined, okay? Let's see. Okay, now we have it. We have this upward slope. There we go. Okay, that's phase 1. And now what we do is we go into phase 2 with the sell-off. Now, this is easy to see in hindsight, but how could we know how to do this in real time when it's actually happening? And also, if we knew how to see this in real time, we'd see, okay, there's phase 1 and then there's phase 2. So obviously what we want to do is we want to be able to purchase or buy somewhere around the bottom of this little sell-off, okay? So how could we have done that? Well, it's simple. On our platform, come up to strategy 9, click on signal arrow, And look, right there at the very low of that sell-off, there was a buy signal. All right. So this wasn't looking back in hindsight. This was happening in real time. So once you could have purchased, and we tell you where to purchase, look what happened. Stage 3, the resumption of trend. It's that simple. Let's look at another example, BIIB. Let me just get rid of this. Okay, it's the same process. Once again, we see phase number 1 right here at the bottom, where we have the established uptrend, okay? And now we have phase 2. But we didn't know where to buy. Would we buy here, here, here? Well, it's as simple as saying, well, listen, we want to buy, obviously, in this area down here. Get the, there we are, okay? So we want to buy down here. How could we have done that? All you have to do is click on strategy number 9 and look at all the cluster of buy signals. You had all these chances, 1, 2, 3, 4, to buy Biogen before it actually had the resumption of trend. It's a very simple process, but it was difficult, especially when I first started trading pullback, because we didn't have a clear-cut idea of when it was a good time to get in. All right, let's look at another example here. Here's one in VRSK. The same process, even though these charts look a little different because of the price and because of how they are displayed, it's the same process. We have phase 1 followed by phase 2, okay? But where exactly is phase 2 going to end? Because obviously, if we're in phase 2, we see in hindsight, well, this would have been the best place to buy, right? Somewhere here, right? But how would we have known that? Well, simply click on strategy number 9, signal arrows, and look at right at that bottom. There you see was a perfect a buy signal right at the very lows, where you could have taken advantage of that. And then all you had to do was wait for the resumption of trend to the upside. All right, let's look at another example here. Let's look at AMAT. This is another example where, once again, if we were trading this, we see the 3 different phases. And this is the bottom of phase 2 where we would want to buy, right? How could we have taken advantage of that? Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Click on strategy number 9. Right at the very bottom, that was our entry. And look what happened after that. Phase 3, and price went up. You see, it's simple. Looking back in hindsight, you can say, well, yeah, I see where all of these pullbacks were. But while they're happening in real time, it's very difficult because you didn't know whether this was going to keep going lower and lower. I mean, for the last 1, 2, 3, 4 days, we closed lower. So everyone thought, well, this is a change in trend. Okay, it's time to get out. But with strategy number 9, it goes through all the requirements for you. Here's an example in Microsoft. Once again, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Easy to spot in hindsight, but obviously we wanted to buy somewhere here at the bottom in phase 2. Well, with strategy number 9 and our platform, it's simple. Click on the signal arrows right, once again, at the bottom of phase 2. You could have purchased that, and then look how simple it was. All you had to do was write out phase 3, the resumption of trend, okay? Once again, this is going back to that chart, that generic chart I shared with you that happens in all markets and in a pullback type of phase. As we look at VRTX, the same process, 1, 2, 3. Obviously, we would have wanted to buy somewhere along that, just that very shallow sell-off, okay? Strategy number 9, right at the very low before the pullback took off. Now, how about Netflix? This was a little bit more difficult. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, it wasn't as simple, but that's where our platform comes in. It makes it simple because it generates the signals for you. Even though we teach you exactly what to look for, even if you didn't have the platform, you would know what to look for using the proprietary indicator, but it's so much more simpler on our platform. It's right there, 1 click away. SNPS, here's what we call a cluster. This is when you have more than 2, the more the better, because oftentimes these clusters are high probability setups. So we had a cluster of 1, 2, 3 buy signals, and look what happened in Synopsis. Straight up, okay? Went up after that, I believe about 60 points. As we look at REGN, Regeneron, the same thing. We had a cluster of buy setups right here at the end of May, okay, on this very moderate to shallow pullback. And once that cluster was over, look at the resumption of trend, okay? Straight up after that, and you could have taken advantage of that and possibly captured 85 points altogether with that resumption of trend. Let's look at KLAC, all right? Same process applies. Phase 1, the uptrend. Phase 2, the moderate pullback. Phase 3, we click on, or I should say the middle of phase 2, we click on strategy number 9, and we have a buy signal right at the very lows. And phase 3, the resumption of trend. You could have potentially captured over 125 points in the next 2 weeks. Most of these all happened within the last 2 to 3 weeks, okay? Now, we know we've showed you some buy setups. Let's look at some sell setups because it's the same process. We just turn it upside down, okay? Let's look at DDOG, data job. All right, so here we have phase 1. But this time, since it's an overall downtrend, phase 1 is to the downside, okay? So we have phase 1. And now we have phase 2, which is the rally or the bounce. So what we want to do is, since we are looking to sell, we could buy puts, we could do something else, but we just simply, what we want to do is, rather than short the stock, but at least know somewhere around these levels to be selling, okay? Click on strategy 9 on the platform. And you see we had 2 sell signals. Now, obviously, this first one didn't work out. If you were using one of our standard stop placements, most likely you would have lost 4, possibly 5 points. Okay, not a lot, but depending on how many shares you have. If you were long some puts, it all depended. But point-wise, you would have lost 4, possibly 5. But then look what happened. This is what we mean by consistent. A second signal was generated right here. So this is what we mean. You have to get back in. You can't. So many traders like to play the victim game and say, oh, I'm not going to take another signal. I know this one won't work. You only say that when you have a method that's not consistent, that doesn't produce a lot of consecutive winners. But a consistent method is one that's able to recoup the losses. Had you taken the second signal, you not only would have made back that 4-point loss, but potentially captured 15 points. So this is the beauty of having a consistent method. There will be losses from time to time. That's okay. We just want to make sure that we can get back right up on top, okay? Let's look at DLTR. Okay, obviously the overall trend is down, right? It doesn't take a lot to see that. But what we want to do as a pullback trader in hindsight is able to go short at these levels, like right here and right here. How could we have done that in hindsight? Well, it's easy with strategy number 9. Click it on. 2 sell signals right at or near the top. You could have taken the first one, and this was in DLTR. You could have potentially captured 20 points. The second one, you could have potentially captured 15 points. This is how simple it is when you're trading pullbacks, okay? Let's look at DXCM, okay? The overall trend was up. Not a lot of bounces here. We kind of went sideways here. The only bounce was maybe right there, okay? So let's see what strategy number 9 said in hindsight. Guess what? 2 sell signals right at the top before the market fell out of bed coming into June, and it fell 18 points. Okay, ILMN, Illumina, excuse me. I don't trade a lot of these stocks, but they're perfect examples of, once again, how pullbacks work. That's all that matters, as long as you know the process. Now, if we had applied this pullback process, look, we would have wanted to sell somewhere around here and somewhere around here, probably. Maybe even here. I'm not sure, but we'll see. Okay, let's see what strategy number 9 did. Click on platform. Yes, in each one of those areas, there was a sell at or near the very top. Now, the first sell signal right here would have generated close to 18 points you could have captured. The second one, you could have potentially captured 16 points and 16 more points as well. Do you see why people like to trade pullbacks? They're high probability, but the only trouble is they're difficult in finding out where these levels are. Well, strategy number 9 makes that simple. Okay, let's look at workday, okay? Here we have a cluster right at the very top. Right at the very top of this bounce right here, this pullback, where you could potentially have captured upwards of 50 points. Now, once again, as I always say, some news announcement or something happened for this stock to gap down about 20 points. But isn't it funny Strategy number 9, just based off this proprietary method, knew in advance where these signals were before some news announcement came out. That's because the market, when you're basing your trades on market behavior, oftentimes you will be told in advance by the market what's going to happen. I see this over and over again. Go to our Twitter page. You'll see a number of examples where we have buy and sell signals prior to a news announcement that are in the favor of the news announcement. Let's look at Lulu, okay? Same process here. We have phase 1, the downtrend. Phase 2 is the bounce. Here we had a cluster of sell signals. Took a little while for it to kick in, but coming into this last week, you could have potentially captured 70 points. Now we've looked at stocks. Let's look at a different time frame, an entirely different market. This is a 4-hour chart of the euro dollar, okay? 4-hour chart. Phase 1 is a kind of a rather slow drifting downward move. Here's phase 2, the bounce. This is where everyone thought, oh, wow, the euro dollar is bouncing. That means it's bottomed out on a 4-hour chart. That's the beauty of strategy number 9. It generated 2 sell signals where everyone thought, no, we're going higher. And you could have potentially captured 100 pips in a couple of days. That's upwards of $1,000 per unit. And here's a daily chart of the dollar yen. So let's go through the whole process again. I'm looking back in hindsight, sure, it's easy, but as this was happening in real time, you would have known that this was phase 1. This was the rally. And you would have known that this was phase 2. This was the sell-off. So obviously what we want to do then is we want to buy in this area right here somewhere in phase 2, but we don't know whether it's going to stop going down or go back up. It's easy to see in hindsight once again. So while we were in phase 2, what you would have done is simply click on strategy number 9, click on signal arrow, and wait to see if a signal arrow was generated. In this case, we had 2. So we have 2 signal arrows generated there. And had you taken either one, well, potentially riding it up until this week, you could have potentially captured, gosh, upwards of 700 pips. That's close to $7,000 per unit. That's just in the last couple of months, okay? This is a perfect example of how the pullback phases work in any market and in any time frame. I've just showed you a number of stocks. I showed you some currency pairs, but it's mainly, it doesn't matter really what market we're looking at because strategy number 9 doesn't know or care what market. All it wants to do is find that proper requirement for phase 2 to come to an end before it generates a signal, okay? Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. In fact, let's review what I taught you today. A pullback is either a large, moderate, or shallow sell-off in an overall uptrend, or a large, moderate, or shallow rally in an overall downtrend. And remember, strategy number 9, is based off this buy low, sell high concept. It does this by applying a proprietary indicator-based method to any market, any time frame, in any direction. You can apply it to option trading. It makes it ideal for option timing, okay? Please, paper trade this strategy first. If you decide to become a student of mine in this course, we always require, not ask, but require that everyone paper trade because there will be some losses from time to time. We want you to understand the concept. Strategy number 9 is extremely consistent. That means that it has an awareness that there will be losses from time to time, but that's okay. A consistent method is one that's able to recoup those losses. And I showed you an example of that in today's presentation. Now, if you can believe it, we are just about halfway through another week, and we'll be halfway through 2024. I can almost guarantee that the majority of you are nowhere near where you promised yourself you wanted to be at this time, at the beginning of this year, okay? That's okay. My first couple of years trading, I did the exact same thing. It's very common. Most traders do this. But ask yourself, don't you think strategy number 9, pullback method number 9, can help your trading for the remainder of 2024? What if you could recoup all those losses of the difficult first 6 months of 2024? Well, I think strategy number 9 could really help you. So because of that, we have a great discounted offer for all of you taking time out of your Wednesday to watch this educational webinar. This is our powerful pullback trading special. Strategy number 9, what we're going to do is offer you strategy number 9, the detailed video course, okay? You're going to get instant access to all the entries, all the exits, and all the stop placement. If you notice, I didn't share any of that with you today because that's all in the course, and that wouldn't be fair for me to give you all that private information that our students do. But you'll get the entire course rules that you can apply to any market, in any time frame. Now, you saw all the examples I shared with you today on the PTS Primo Charting Platform. So because of that, we're throwing in an extra bonus. Since everything is so easy, it's one click away, as I just shared with you, here's what we're going to do. If you decide to become a student of mine in the Strategy Number 9 course, we're going to throw in a full year free of the PTS Primo Charting Platform. That's a over $1,700 savings to you, a 35% discount. Now, here's the best thing about this offer. Not only are you going to get Strategy Number 9, but you're going to get a host of different techniques and methods that you won't find anywhere else. These are things that I've accumulated in my nearly 5 decades of trading, things that I've taken from the trading floor that are only found on the PTS Primo Charting Platform. Now, I don't have time to go over all of them. There are literally dozens of things you'll receive. Let me share with you some of our most popular. Along with Strategy 9, you'll get our enhanced buy sell line. These are 4 different ways to determine the overall trend. You'll get a scanner. You can scan on a nightly basis for what you're looking for. A strength of trend tool. This tells you whether the trend is strong or running out of steam. Over 90 of the most prominent technical indicators, along with personalized tech support. This is just the tip of the iceberg, but here's one of the best things that our students rave about. These are auto-generated exit levels. Now, in the course, we teach you upwards of 6 or 7 different ways to exit. And it's up to you to decide how you want to, because we know not everyone likes to trade the same way. Some people like to stay in a trade for as long as possible. Other traders like to get in and out real quickly. So we give you a number of different ways to exit. Here's just one of them that is auto-generated on the platform. Let me share with you how it works. Now, just about a month ago, here was an actual signal that was generated you could have scanned for in Micron, in MU, okay? It was a buy signal on the 31st. So you would have known where you wanted to enter, where you wanted to place your stop, but say you're wondering where you want to exit. Well, here's one of the best things. On our platform, once again, you would simply click on Strategy Number 9, and in that drop-down menu, instead of signal scanner, click on range extension exits. This is just one of the exit plans we teach you. And what it does is it gives you these different ranges for to help you make your decision as to where you want to exit. In other words, if you're the type of trader that wants to get in and out very quickly, you would exit at the first, possibly second range, okay? If you're more of a swing trader, a moderate time trader, well, then you would exit at the second or third range. And if you think that this stock is really going to go up, and it has a big move in it, you've done the research and you really have been following and tracking this stock, well, then you would obviously exit at the 4th and final exit point. Now, we say final because mostly when we get up to these levels, this is where you have a trend change. It's right to take your profits, okay? Especially in the beginning where you're learning this. So let's say you thought it was really going to have a big move and you wanted to exit here. You'd simply place a limit, and we give you all the exact numbers of where these are. And look what happened. In 2 weeks, this was just a couple of weeks ago, you could have potentially captured 27 points. And look what happened right after that. Stock started to go straight down, okay? This is the beauty of using this. Now, you can also use this to the downside. Here was another signal generated a month or 2 ago in TEAM, T-E-A-M, all right? You could have scanned for this, seen this on the nightly signals, okay? You could have gone short and wondering, well, if I'm going to go short, where do I get out? Well, once again, click on Strategy Number 9, click on range extension exits, and they'll automatically appear on the platform. You won't find this anywhere else. If you wanted to get in and out quickly, these will be your levels right here, 1 and 2. More moderate swing traders would exit at 2 or 3. And the traders who wanted to get squeeze as much profit as possible would exit at number 4. Now, you could do different things. If you had multiple positions, you could exit 100 shares here, 100 shares here, or one option here, one option here. It's up to you. There are a number of ways to do it, and we teach you how to do this in the course. But let's say you really thought this was going to fall out of bed. You didn't like the market, so you placed a buy order to cover your short position right here. Well, coming into this last week, look what happened. TEAM fell right there and stopped and immediately went up. You could have potentially captured 30 points based off this signal that was auto-generated for you. You could have scanned and based off of these range extension exits. That's how simple it is to apply Strategy Number 9 on our platform. So a year from today, trust me, this is what so many students of us tell us. They wish they would have become a member of the Strategy Number 9 course. Don't be one of those students that say they wish, because if you continue to trade the way you're trading, you're going to continue to get the same results. Turn your trading around. Become a student of mine in the Strategy Number 9 course. Here's the great offer we have for all of you today, okay? Now, normally, all this included would cost you close to $4,700 or $4,800, I should say. We're going to discount that today down to $29.95. Okay, $29.95. All right, that's a discount of over $1,700 and roughly 35% you're saving. Okay, now that also comes with a full year of the platform. Remember, so if $29.95 is still too much for you to come up with, don't worry. We can have you establish a payment plan with Pro Trader Strategies. They're happy enough to establish a payment plan for you. So for a fraction of the $29.95 cost, you can still be up and running, establish a payment plan, a monthly payment plan, and be up and running as soon as today. You can get all the strategy number 9 course rules. You can start applying the platform today and clicking on the buy and sell signals. That's how simple it is. That's how great our tech support is. And that's how easy it is to become a student of mine. So 2 ways to buy, either $29.95 in full, or if that's a little difficult for you to come up with, don't worry, you can contact Pro Trader Strategies and establish a payment plan. And for a fraction of that, you can still be up and running today. All right. Either way, students will get a full year absolutely free of our platform. Now, here's how to sign up. Contact my sister site, Pro Trader Strategies. I would highly recommend giving them a call at 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones right now. They would be more than happy to answer any of your questions or establish a payment plan or just go over with you the process of purchasing strategy number 9, but there's no obligation at all. Now, that link you see at the bottom is the link that will take you to the info page for strategy number 9, or if you'd like to, you can actually sign up on that link there, but it's not a live link, but a live link has just been posted in the chat box. So if you go to the chat icon and click that on, you'll see a live link there, so you won't have to copy and paste this on the screen, and that will open up a browser for you, okay? Now, I promised you I would answer any question. We still have some time in the webinar, so if you have any questions, please, now's the time to ask, and I will leave this information up for you to copy down the phone number or for you to copy down the link, okay? Someone's saying, Steve, I have not been trading that long. I don't really understand what pullbacks are. Would this course be all right for me? Well, yes. See, firstly, our class is geared towards having everyone learn the same process altogether. So in other words, it makes absolutely no difference if you've been trading for 2 weeks, 2 years, or 2 decades. Everyone gets the same information. So it's very simple and very easy to apply. And I'm there with you every step of the way. So what a lot of students say is, well, I don't really understand pullbacks. I don't understand the process. I haven't been trading that long. One of the best things about our courses is that each and every one of you will get my personal email address. So you can contact me whenever you like via email. And it's just like me sitting right there next to you. You can contact me before the opening, during the market, after the market closed, during the weekends. It makes no difference. And I will answer your questions as soon as I can. Okay, so lots of ways to learn. We make it simple, but I think one of the best things about all of our courses and all of our methods is that they are extremely simple. Trust me. When I first started trading 47 years ago, I struggled and I tried to take all these courses, and I can't tell you how many times I purchased a $5,000, $10,000 course where 10 minutes into the course, I just looked down and said, this is a waste of money because I have no idea what they're talking about. And I know what that's like, and I would never try to teach someone the same way. My goal is to make it as simple as possible. So it makes no difference, once again, how long you've been trading or how much your expertise is or experience is. Everyone gets the same information, okay? So I hope that makes sense. Someone says, can we apply this to intraday trading? Yes, you can. It works great. Remember, any market, any time frame. I personally trade the E-mini futures. I trade intraday E-mini futures, so I apply this to them. It works great on smaller time frames as well, because this process, remember I shared with you that phase 1, 2, 3 process, that happens all over the time. Based on that phase pattern that happens, it doesn't matter if it's looking at a daily, weekly, or a 5-minute chart. You'll see those 3 phases over and over again. The trouble is trying to determine which phase you're in. Well, that's the good part about strategy number 9, is that it takes all that hard work out of it for you. It automatically determines what it's in, and with a click of the mouse, you'll know where the buy and sell signals are. So this is really a great way to get started on your platform with the PTS Primo Charting Platform. With one click, you'll see where those signals are, and you can get your pullback trading, right in track for the remainder of this year. Remember, we only have 6 months left. If you've been struggling and you're not seeing the type of results, this is a great way to finish out the last portion of the year strongly, okay? Okay, any other questions? Let me see one in the question and answer box. Let me open that up. Will strategy number 9 ever generate a signal arrow on a daily bar that is still in progress? Trading is still in progress. Good question. Yes, it will, but remember, it generates it while it's in progress, but that's only a platform thing. Remember, you have to wait till the bar closes, because the platform doesn't know whether the bar has closed yet, and it wants to give you a heads up. So what you can do is, if you see a half hour before the close that there's a buy signal generated and something that you've been looking at, that's great. But anything can change in the last half hour, and then that buy signal won't be there. So we tell our students it's part of the course, and these are part of the rules that I'll share with you right now. You have to wait for the bar to close. All right, this is not something the minute an arrow appears that, okay, well, I buy or I sell. You must wait for the bar to close before you take action. And it's that simple, though. But you'll see, the arrows will appear on the chart, but they're giving you a warning or an update as to whether a signal is being generated or not. What a lot of our students like to do is click and refresh a minute or two before the bar closes, and then if they know not much has changed in the requirements, well, then they know that that's a buy signal. Okay. It's really not that difficult, unless you're trading maybe a 10-tick chart. Well, it may be a little bit more difficult there, but most of our students don't trade those real small time frames. Good questions. Good questions. Any more before we sign off for today? Remember, strategy number 9 is our premier pullback method. If you're really serious about pullback trading, you like to buy at these lower levels and sell or go short, buy puts at these higher levels, I can't think of a better method than strategy number 9. Okay, so contact Pro Trader Strategies, 310-598-6677. There's absolutely no obligation. Don't worry and say to yourself, well, I don't want to call because I'll have to buy something. No, they're there to work with you. They're very flexible, and they'd be happy to answer any question you may have, even give you a quote on establishing a payment plan. Okay. Okay, if there are no further questions as we close today, I just want to take one last look at our disclaimer and say that I hope you learned something about the 3 phases of a pullback trade. Okay, very important. This is why so many traders struggle with pullbacks, because they aren't aware of these 3 phases, and even if they are, they don't know how to apply them properly. The good news is that strategy number 9 takes all of that hard work out of it for you. With one click, you'll see where these buy signals are at the end of phase number 2, okay? So come on board. Thank you for listening today. I hope you learned something, but most especially, I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the strategy number 9 course. Thanks so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.